Rachel, I create colourful paintings and I make tutorials so that you can learn how to paint them too. In this video I show you the process of painting this pretty peacock painting. This was such a lovely painting to do as I got to use some of my favourite colours to paint the beautiful blue feathers. This is a shortened version of the video, but I do also have the full-length tutorial in real time, which is around 2 hours long, and you can paint along as I tell you what to do step by step. If you'd like to see this, it is available on my Patreon along with all of my other full-length art tutorials. I will add a link to the description of this video if you're interested. I actually ran a poll on my Patreon a couple of weeks ago asking which bird I should paint next, and peacock and flamingo were the joint winners, so keep your eyes peeled as I will also be uploading a flamingo tutorial soon. Peacocks are such beautiful birds and the feathers have such amazing natural blue and green tones that I really enjoyed replicating. I decided to paint the peacock's feathers as the background to this painting because they're so distinctive and recognisable, and it will also look as if he has the tail up behind him. I wanted it to look almost as if they were a bit out of focus, so I didn't add too much detail to the tail feathers and I kept them a little bit abstract. This is because I want all the focus to be on the peacock's face. I loved painting with different shades of green. Even though it's one of my favourite colours, I feel like I haven't used much green in my recent paintings, so it was really fun to experiment with these colours. The canvas I'm working on is 11 by 14 inches, which I have found is the perfect size to create my art tutorials. It's big enough that I can show the detail in the animals' faces, but small enough that I can get it finished in 2 to 3 hours, which is the perfect length for the full-length tutorials. I worked in layers to get the background finished. I started with the colours and I mapped out where the eyes of the feathers will be and in which direction I would paint the greens in. I then added another layer to build up the texture, adding thick brush strokes with lots of paint. I love adding lots of texture to my paintings. There's just something so nice about seeing the brush strokes in an original painting. Adding the eyes in the peacock's tail is really important, as that is what is so distinctive about them. You could see a peacock's tail from a huge distance and still recognise that it's a peacock, and I want to get that same effect with this painting. I think birds are one of my favourite animals to paint, even though I probably say this about all animals, but there's something about painting them that I always really enjoy. I don't stress myself trying to paint every detail of every feather, I just use a large brush and flick it back and forth to replicate the feather texture, while working with dark and light shades of paint to create the shadows and highlights. I love to create high contrast paintings, so deepening the shadows and brightening the highlights is something that I always do in my art. I think another reason that I love painting birds is that they are so naturally colourful. It's no secret that I love to create colourful paintings, and even if I'm painting a grey or brown animal I will still always make it really colourful, but it's so nice to paint an animal that is actually that colourful in real life. I've painted lots of birds before, such as the kingfisher, parrot, blue jay and more, and each one has been so much fun to create. I will add links to my other bird painting videos in the description of this video if you'd like to see them. I think teal and turquoise are some of my favourite colours, and being able to use them to paint this peacock was so much fun. I started out with really dark blue and then worked in layers with lighter blues and turquoises to build up the texture and mimic the sunlight lighting up the peacock. I worked from my reference image to create this painting. I always upload my reference images to my Patreon tutorials, so if you remember you can download them from the post to work from yourself. It's so helpful to work from a reference photo as there's only so much that we can picture in our minds, and it's so easy to forget the little details that can really make a painting. I also find that it really helps to know where to paint the shadows on the animal, as they're often not where I would expect, and painting them in the right place can add a lot more realism to the painting. I don't try to make my paintings photorealistic. In fact, I don't even think I would be able to do this, but I do like to have a sense of realism to them, especially in their eyes. I like to have a balance between a fun and colourful painting and a realistic painting, and this is part of my artistic style. Everyone paints in different ways, which is one of the best things about art, that we could all look at the same reference photo and create something completely different to each other. I love to create animal art tutorials to show you how to create a painting from start to finish, and I show you exactly how I do that. But I also love to see your finished pieces and how you have created them differently to me and all of your different artistic styles. If you're struggling to find your own art style, then I have created a video that breaks down the steps to develop your art process and find your art style that is unique to you. I'll add a link to that in the description of this video as well. If you have any other ideas for videos that you think would be helpful, then just let me know in the comments. Painting animal eyes is always my favourite part of the painting process. It's when the painting really comes to life. I spend a lot of time on the eye as I like to get as much detail in as I can. It's always what people look at first, so I believe a good eye can make a great painting. I also really love to paint the highlights in the eyes as it can make them appear so much more lifelike. I hope you like watching this peacock painting video, and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this.